Hey guys, welcome to episode 10 of 304 EVs. I'm your host Curtis, joined here by my co-host Zane.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back. This is episode 10. Finally hit that double-digit number. Big stuff. We're rolling them out. This week we're gonna cover a few articles, the usual. But we also had a pretty interesting day yesterday. We got hands-on with a car, a Porsche Taycan. What's the preferred
I'm not sure.
pronunciation?
I'm not talking to enough owners to know.
I think it's kind of like Toucan, like Taycan. That's what I'm gonna say. So yeah, Porsche Taycan. We got hands on with one of those, a 4S model. We recorded our first video content actually, that will be edited and published
Within the next week.
Weeks.
No, we got to be more motivated within the next week.
Upcoming weeks. We'll see what happens. Like I said, it's our first, so don't expect great things, but at the same time, please give us your time of day. View it, like process it, really chew it, swish it around a little bit, and then spit out some constructive criticism, not just straight criticism.
Yeah, I would say we got some. I was actually going through some of the clips that we recorded. We had a couple really good clips, but don't expect, like, if you guys watch other YouTube channels, like, I don't know, like even like Doug DeMuro quality, or even like out of spec quality. I mean, it'll be patched together, but I think we overall covered the car pretty well. But you guys will see in the video.
I haven't actually seen it yet.
Yeah, well, it's not been made
I did
yet.
it live.
I saw the clips. You haven't watched the clips yet?
No, you have them.
A lot of them are pretty solid, actually. Well, it didn't help that when we were recording recording footage, our phones were overheating.
Yeah, that was crazy.
They were stopping the videos.
I bought a gimbal, a DJI gimbal. I forget which one. Something 5, OM5, I think. I don't remember.
It's fifth gen. It's the best one they make.
The 5th gen
that holds a phone.
Yeah, we work at Best Buy, so we get access to all the goodies. But anywho, bought that with great intentions, the best intentions. I was going to be a well-trained professional videographer, filmmaker, and yeah, it was not like extremely hot day. It was in the low 80s, I think.
It wasn't even that sunny from when we first started recording.
Yeah, it was kind of cloudy at first, and the sun started coming out, and it got a little heated. We were just on blacktop. We were in a parking lot, but I put it on the gimbal, put my phone on the gimbal. We recorded in 4K 30, 30 frames a second, and yeah, for whatever reason, so it started off great. I was testing it out, getting some angles. I'd already tested it out on Curtis's Bolt the day before. So we bought all this the day before. We also bought a mic to hook up to our phones to have good audio the day before. So these two were bought Saturday, and we recorded on Sunday. But as soon as I started videoing, the screen on my phone went really dim, and I had sunglasses on because it was hard to see. There was a lot of sunlight coming down, and your phone screen's hard to see anyway in the sun. So then I was like, oh, maybe I'm just like, maybe something's not working out here. Maybe my polarized lenses are just doing something funky. So I took my sunglasses up. I could not see what I was filming.
Yeah, I didn't know at first it was overheating. I was just like, maybe the auto brightness isn't working right.
That's what I thought. And I checked my brightness, and it was all the way up. And I was like, something is not working out here. But I ended up getting some pretty decent shots, even though I couldn't see. I'm watching them back.
I guess the phone was really hot. I mean, I was kind of hot because we were like out in the sun. You guys were talking for like, I don't know, I think we talked in that parking lot for 25 minutes. We started taking video.
Yeah.
So we kind of let our phones get hot, and we let ourselves get hot, and then we started recording. I kind of wanted to be the one on camera, because so in that one, Zane's on camera, but I didn't bring my sunglasses. And also my face was really red because we were out in the parking lot for 25 minutes probably before we started shooting. So I was like, Zane, you've got to be on camera.
Yeah, he was out. He was already mic'd up. I had the phone in hand, and he was like, you're on camera today. I was like, huh? I didn't prepare for this, but it worked out.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. Yeah. Let's see. What else did we experience that day? Yeah, so he drove us around quite a bit, actually.
Yeah, we got a lot of drive time. I got a lot of footage. I sat in the back seat, used the gimbal in the back with the phone to not overheat inside the car. A lot of launch control launches and a lot of just zooming around. He drives like a race car driver.
You know what I think I found most interesting about that car? I don't know. I guess we have some of the audio for it. It's probably all the noises it made. It sounded so different.
It
Like
makes a
in
lot of
launch
noise.
control, the noises it was making. That was probably the most unique part about that electric vehicle versus most is all the noises.
Yeah, when I filmed you driving from the outside of the car.
Yeah.
When especially
cool.
Like when you put it in park or when you just stopped, it like makes this like it locks in. It's like noise, like all these weird noises.
Yeah,
It's really cool.
Really goes a lot of noises.
But it was fun. Definitely a car outside of my bracket, not something I would be in the market for, or a lot of people in the state.
It's like 2 tax brackets above my tax bracket.
Yeah. That car, for those that don't know, Porsche Taycan.
It's Taycan.
Taycan.
Yeah. What was the other thing you were calling it?
Taycan?
Taycan or Taycan? Taycan? I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's like, well, I think Porsche. I think the actual proper
Tomato.
Porsche,
anyway, so you can get one for about 80 grand.
Yeah, bare bones.
Bare bones.
No adaptive cruise control.
Oh, very, very bare bones. So he bought this one. It was a 4S trim. It starts at 104. This one's stickered for about 130, 131. That was after he added cooled seats, $10,000 for upgraded brakes and rims, like real sporty looking. The folding mirrors, and then he added adaptive cruise later. I think they just added an extra stock next to the steering column. Like you even mentioned that when you were driving, you were like, "What is this little thing down here?" And I was like, "I think that's just the added adaptive cruise. They just stuck it on there."
I thought maybe he said the adaptive cruise was a software update. Everything was there, but it wasn't enabled.
Well, he said something about he got a part. I think that was the part.
Oh my gosh.
Like the little control stick for it.
So, just for our viewers know, I think that's kind of crazy. The adaptive cruise isn't standard because it's standard on a $20,000 Toyota Corolla now.
Mm-hmm.
But it's optional on a Porsche. And some people think, well, it's a sports car. Why do you want adaptive cruise control? Because some people take their sports cars on road trips.
A lot of people
when you're on the interstate for 8 hours, you want adaptive cruise control. I'm sorry, you do. You don't want to be. You're not going to drive like a race car driver for 8 hours. If you do that, you're going to get pulled over and you're going to get a reckless driving ticket eventually. Your odds of not getting a ticket really go down if you drive 20 to 30 over the speed limit for 8 hours.
Yeah.
So you're not going to make it.
It's definitely tailored at a different crowd than our particular taste. I think both of us are more quality nuts. We prefer like a luxurious feel versus a sport feel.
I don't think I like the ride quality of a sports car because I had a Miata for a while and it was fun to drive, but it sucked to cruise in.
Yeah.
Like it was not a comfortable cruiser. Like even if it was a little bit longer, it was still a harsh ride. It was still very loud. It didn't have the tech.
This is the Mazda, by the way, the Miata.
Finish. Yeah, it was like their 2-door sports car.
Yeah. Yeah, the Porsche had the tech. It was pretty.
But even though it had air suspension, which is like some of the nicest suspension you can get, it didn't feel. I don't think it felt any better than your car. Maybe still worse than your Mazda 6. I know those are totally different cars, but
the other thing was the way we were driving. We were in the lowest setting for most of our drive, so it was the roughest setting. But it's still a really low vehicle.
Yeah, I guess overall it's still really low.
But yeah, honestly,
well, we were passengers, so we were reviewing it as passengers.
Right.
We didn't get to review it as drivers, so
much. Yeah, we drove it around the parking lot.
Yeah,
basically.
I'm not really going to count that as being as driving experience. So as a driver's car, and I think Daniel was talking a lot about that. As it's phenomenal, but I think as a passenger's vehicle or as a cruising vehicle, it's just not. Obviously, I don't think it's there.
Yeah, the quality inside was less than to be desired, I think, at that price point. When you have at similar prices like an EQS, which he got to drive, we stopped by and were hoping to look at one, but it looked like they had sold it.
Yeah, the Mercedes EQS.
Yeah, the Mercedes EQS. They sticker about 103 on the base model or about 100.
Yeah, but you get a lot more in the EQS standard.
Yeah, a lot more. But he even said while we were driving that it rides like a cloud. which I would believe because it's the kind of car it is. It's meant to be driven.
I mean, not in the same class, but same price though. So,
yeah, well, meant to be driven is kind of a weird way to say that. Porsches are definitely meant to be driven.
It's meant to be comfortable
comfortable, cruising, like passenger oriented.
Well, it's going to be passenger, driver, everyone. Its comfort is the main concern, not how sporty it feels around curves or turns.
So yeah, definitely a very different vehicle than I think what we tend to look for. Because Curtis is notable for always comparing things to what you can get in a Mercedes. Like, for instance, like a Bronco cost like 60 grand. He's like, well, you can get an E-Class. You can get something ultra luxurious for this kind of money, but it depends on the person. So, like, people that buy Porsches buy them to drive them aggressively. People that buy Broncos buy them to go off-roading, hypothetically.
To drive on the interstate.
To take the doors off. But
yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people, it's just, personal preference. But I think for some people, though, if they actually, and this is more not really the Porsche buyers, this is more like the Bronco buyers here I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. I think if they actually went and like said, okay, let's be realistic. Let's be real here. How much off-roading are you going to do? What are you actually using this vehicle for? Okay, well, you can get you a Bronco for $60,000, or you can get you a
fully loaded C-Class for less.
Even a Corvette, and I know those are totally different cars, but like, let's say you have multiple vehicles.
You can get fun factors.
You can get a Corvette or a Bronco. I think a Corvette's way more fun. Also think an E-Class is way more fun. Like, I think if you really, I don't know, I don't get the appeal of some of those like boxy, clunky SUVs.
Rough riding.
Because that's kind of like the Wrangler, Bronco. What else is in that category?
Well, I think Gladiator should be the Blazer, but GM made that like a family car.
Yeah, well, an overpriced family car. It's like crazy expensive. It starts at $36,000.
But yeah, I guess the Range Rover Defender is in that class. It's kind of off-road oriented.
Yeah, but that's like more luxurious on the inside.
Yeah, definitely more high end.
I think if the Bronco buyers kind of expanded their palette and just kind of gave other things a chance, and was realistic about their use case, maybe they wouldn't buy a Bronco. I see so many Broncos around here too.
I see a lot of them. Yeah, this is definitely the demographic. West Virginia is the truck,
and they're all expensive. Although, how much are the real Bronco? Like, we say real Bronco. How much is like the off-roading Bronco?
When I built one, when they first debuted, I went on Ford's website and built one because I really liked them. Just because I like them because they're kind of a novelty. Like, how many cars are meant to be taken apart and driven like bare bones? Like, you don't get a Mercedes and take the doors off. Like, you just don't do that.
Roll the windows down.
Yeah, you can roll the windows down and maybe pop the panoramic roof, but you can't take the doors off and like take the windshield off. And like, there's all these parts, like every part on the Bronco that has the Bronco logo or badging can be removed. But you can strip it.
At that point, aren't you also buying the car for like those few weeks out of the year, or maybe even days, depending on what days you have off work? We really get to enjoy that, because I know when I had my Miata, it was a convertible. I didn't like having that top down a lot of the time because it was either way too hot, or it was
cold,
too cold, and too cold is like 60 degrees or even 65 degrees.
Yeah.
So like, I bought it a lot to have the top down, and then you never get to have the top down. But if you buy like not an E-Class, it's not a Miata competitor, but the Bronco buyers, if you buy an E-Class or a C-Class, you can kind of experience the best version of that car all the time.
Yeah.
Where the Bronco, you only experience, I guess, what makes it so unique a little bit of the time.
Well, it also depends on where you live. I think if you live in, say, Florida, it is going to be hot, but
it's so hot.
It's typically sunny.
If you lived in Hawaii, definitely get a Bronco.
Oh, yeah.
Or if you live in parts of California, like
temperate.
San Francisco, get you a convertible or a Bronco. Well, I don't know, or convertible. Yeah, but I think you need like 70 to 75 degree weather.
Right.
I mean, it's 85 degrees is too hot unless you're doing city driving, because you're going to pull up to all the stoplights.
Yeah, if you're driving consistently, like on back roads, it's good. But yeah, if you're stopping, it's hot.
Yeah.
But yeah, Broncos, when I built them, they were about, for what I wanted, about 60 to 65 grand.
But what do they start at? 36, 40?
Let me get you an exact figure here.
They probably went up like $1,000 too since then.
Let me see. Ford Bronco.
Non-sport. So for our viewers, they have the. I guess
They start at $30,800 actually.
Oh, that's like 2-door though, right?
Probably, yeah. I think it immediately jumps a few grand.
So if you equip one real nice, you're looking at like $45,000 to $60,000.
The Big Ben, that base is $30,800. Big Ben, the first trim is $35,000, so it jumps $5,000 immediately.
Well, that's 4 trim.
And then you can even. Well, they have a Raptor. I didn't know they had that. They have a Raptor Bronco at $68,500. I built an Outer Banks. I believe they start at $40,855, and by the time you put good features on them, it's about 55 to 60.
So the base model is $40,000, right? A base like C class is like 45. So I mean that's also, I just thought of another area, like it gives you some perspective. Like when you see someone with a Bronco, you probably don't think, oh my gosh, that guy spends $900 a month or $800 a month.
Yeah.
But when you see someone with a Mercedes, you're like, oh my gosh, you have so much money. At the end of the day, the actual cost of ownership, especially where the Mercedes is more fuel efficient, it's like the same.
Oh yeah.
So like, I don't know,
because people even think like A-class Mercedes are like,
yeah, Daniel's wife actually has an A-class Mercedes.
Right, that's what I meant. That was what I was thinking of when I said that. Yeah, he said it was like $35,000 or whatever.
He compared it to like a Honda Accord in terms of price, and it's smaller than a Honda Accord.
Yeah,
but I mean,
it's more
still
size.
Like kind of in that price. I mean, it's in the price range of a Honda Accord,
and it's pretty nice. They redesigned it before they redesigned the new C-Class, and looks really nice. It's got a lot of tech, and it's got that curb appeal. It's got that Mercedes.
Yeah, still. I mean,
power.
Mercedes look nice on the outside. They all look nice on the outside.
They're sophisticated cars, yeah.
But I guess that makes them age well.
I think
it makes
they
them
age
look
very
good
well.
through age, but do they age well in terms of reliability and stuff not breaking? No,
not exactly. But they do. Like I do still enjoy the older models because
on the
they
outside.
don't have any. Yeah, they don't have any ridiculous features and things that look like aged. They don't have things that make them look like a 2012 car.
Yeah,
like a lot of 2012 cars. Now they do have like non-LED headlights and stuff that were typical for the time in some cases, but they still have decent design. Like they did a good job on each design as far as I'm concerned. It just looked good. I don't know, but they also stand out, especially to a lot of people in West Virginia when you see a Mercedes. Like I was saying, even an A-class are like, oh,
well, I
think a lot of money having a Mercedes.
Yeah, for sure. But I think also the economy car brands have caught up a lot. Like I think the new Hyundai Elantra with its sharp edges, I think that looks really good.
Yeah.
Where like Elantras from, 10 years ago they look like everything else economy wise.
Right.
So I think
like the K5, for instance.
Yeah, the economy cars specifically, well here Kia and Hyundai, and I guess Mazda to an extent, have really caught up to the luxury brands in exterior design. I don't mean maybe quality of materials or how nice the metals are, but in terms of what they look like from the curb, they're pretty close.
The curb appeal.
We'll see how they age, because they also like to really change their designs every few years.
Oh yeah, these cars look nothing
makes
like
them look
the
old.
Cars.
Which makes them look old once the new ones come out. You're like, oh my gosh, that's definitely an old one. Where you see like a Mercedes and you're like, I don't know exactly what year that is by looking at it. Like especially if it has LED headlights, you're like, I don't know, it could be 2014 to 2022 almost on some of them.
Yeah, they have really long generations, I think.
Volvo's like that too. Like Volvos you look at and you're like, I don't know how old this car is.
Yeah, the new generation Volvos look really nice too. They're sophisticated. But they're kind of the best of both worlds. I like the interiors on Volvos too. They just have a nice luxury feel all the way around. Like where I think Mercedes goofed up, especially in the C-Class and stuff. And most of their lineup, before they refreshed them, it was really misleading looking at the outside and that sophistication and that Mercedes badge, and you get in and you were like, oh, this is what people were sitting in when I see this car. When I test drove that one, C-Class is a 2018, I think. That was last year. I was so excited to go look at it. It had that curb appeal, and I was like, I'm going to be that guy. Like, this car is affordable, yet people are going to think it's $1 bajillion. And I got in, and I was like, I cannot own this car. I was like, this is hideous. Like, the screen is horrible quality. It just sits there all awkward.
It was like worse than most economy cars.
Yeah, it was bad. It was very bad. It did not have a luxury feel at all.
So yeah, the economy cars have really closed the gap a lot with luxury brands, and that's probably when we were looking at the Porsche. We're like, yeah, I mean, it's really nice. We didn't get to drive it. It's a driver's vehicle, obviously, but at the same time, you're like, but I've seen some really nice things in cars that cost $40,000.
Right.
In terms of fit and finish, I've seen like almost these same materials.
Yeah, we were even talking to him about that. The point of diminishing returns. At some point, you're paying a way bigger premium just for like a name or like a status symbol, almost like to have a Porsche.
Yeah, I mean, you are. But I think it's gotten worse, though, the last 10 years.
Yeah, because the gap has been filled.
Yeah.
These other cars are doing it for cheaper. And I'm pretty sure that's why Mercedes decided to include an S-Class-like interior in the C-Class. They were like, oh, this is not a standout car anymore on the inside. You can get a much nicer car if you get, like me, a Mazda 6, which is no longer existing for this model year, but the material quality, it's got suede, it's got Napa leather.
Like, I mean, you can get suede Napa leather in a $38,000 car.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And ventilated seats and heated steering wheel and a heads-up display and all the safety features you want. And it's like, oh, so I can do this for under 40, or I can go option out a Mercedes for the same. For 60. Why?
Yeah, and the Mercedes might be a little bit quieter and it might be a little more refined driving.
But little is the key.
But yeah, you get 5% more for 50% more.
Yeah. Like, it does not make sense.
Paying a lot of extra money for the gain of a very small amount. But yeah, anyways, I think kind of switching gears here. Also kind of wanted to mention to our viewers, I don't think I mentioned that I have a Tesla Model 3 incoming. I don't think we've mentioned that, have we?
I think you've touched on it, but it didn't
maybe vaguely
become reality.
Well, anyways, over the last just few days, I got a text that I was assigned a VIN number. So Woo! I wasn't expecting the car until August. August is September, actually.
Yeah.
And I got a text the other morning. I was on the phone with my sister, and I was like, oh, Tesla texted me. And I was like, oh, a VIN number? Oh, that means I'm getting it soon. So I clicked on the text, and it took me to the app. And they're like, yep, you've been assigned a VIN. Your estimated delivery date is now May 24th to May 28th or 29th. So I went ahead and submitted my financing info. So I got a loan through a third party. Because in this state, if you buy Tesla, you cannot apply for any financing through Tesla because they don't have their own financial division, kind of like how General Motors has GM Financial. They don't do anything financial, but they have like banks they partner with, like 8 banks. And that's their advertised rate you see on the website. But you can't apply for that in the state. Like you can't, which is so strange because all those banks will give you a loan in the state. So yeah, I get that here soon. Also ordered a charger. Another charger for to use for the Tesla because Cassie, my fiance, is taking my Chevrolet Bolt and she's going to sell her car. So we'll have 2 electric cars.
Wow, look at you planning ahead.
Yeah.
When you put that charger in, putting the ability to have 2.
Yeah, well, I actually have the ability to put like 4 in if I needed to.
Yeah.
So I put a 200 amp exterior breaker box.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So
you can hook them up. Are you going to have to adjust your little situation there and expand your wall and have 2 chargers?
Well, I mean, you have to redo the parking. I'd have to do parking spots on the other side of the yard somehow.
Other side, like across the drive?
No, like on the other side of that post.
Yeah.
I mean, if for some reason, like I said, Cassie's dad wanted to charge some cars because he has like a lawn care business. I mean, he could, I guess, he could put chargers in and somehow park in the front yard. I don't know. But there's capacity for 4 chargers, but yeah, it might be tough to set up charging for 4.
The current situation.
Yeah, just the parking situations.
I was mainly talking about to have 2 because you have like your little roof.
Yeah. Well, yeah, room for a second one. I'm literally just going to mount it. We're going to run I guess we run conduit and then the wire to the breaker to a new circuit in the breaker box.
Switch it on. So
order the charger, and the wall chargers are $400. So the one I bought from ChargePoint was $700, and they're both, the ChargePoint's 50 amps, the Tesla one's 48 amps, basically the same thing almost.
Yeah.
So Tesla chargers are actually, not only are their superchargers really cheap, but in terms of cost, their home chargers are cheaper than the competition too.
Yeah.
So that's
pretty
cool.
cheap.
But I am experiencing where you have to submit insurance, and I mentioned this to you earlier, but it needs to be valid for 60 days from day of delivery. Well, my insurance policy is set to renew in July, so I submitted it and they accepted it, and then today they're like, you need to update your insurance. It's expiring soon. I'm like, it's set for automatic renewal. Like, what is it nowadays?
Yeah. Why are they so concerned for 60 days? I don't understand.
I don't know. Because like you mentioned, you thought it was just as long as you had full coverage the day you took delivery, you were good.
Yeah, that's kind of how they were at the dealership when I got my car. Like, you just needed to get home, basically. Or for like this week. And it was a really short time. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yes, I don't know. I'm going to call them again tomorrow and see what they say. But strange, very strange. But other than that, everything's went pretty smooth. When we do the pickup in a few weeks, we just show up. I think you can walk up to the car immediately and then unlock it, and then you sign a few pieces of paper, give them the check, say have a nice day. Should probably take half an hour. I mean, should budget like half an hour, but could be as quick as 15 minutes.
That's pretty cool.
So no negotiating, no having to deal with salesmen.
Oh gosh. None of that.
You know what your payment is because you've already done the financing through someone else.
Yep.
There's no surprises.
Just leave.
Actually, it'd be really nice. The worst part about buying a car is you walk in with these expectations of what it's going to cost, and it's always, I feel like, more than you expect.
Always.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I think we're going to try to do some film content with that too. So, depending on when you're watching this or listening, our Porsche video may or may not be up. And then we should have some more content coming shortly after, within the next week or two after that's up, with the Tesla delivery.
Yeah, and that's gonna be like a one take video. We're just gonna roll with it. I'm not chopping that up.
Yeah,
we know enough about the Teslas. We don't need to chop it up. We don't need to ask any questions. We can just roll.
Right. Yeah, we didn't do our homework before the other video. We're very unprepared. But we also, speaking of other content, Daniel, that so graciously let us use his Porsche for a video, ordered a Rivian about a month ago. He said on the 22nd of April. And if you're going with Rivian's website, the Rivian R1T, by the way, it's a Rivian truck, a fully electric truck. It's a new up-and-coming brand, for those that don't know. I'm a big fan of Rivian. But anyway, they're kind of like a luxury truck. They have really nice build quality, really nice fit and finish, and really nice tech. Like, they're pretty close to Tesla as far as tech, and they may even be better in terms of fit and finish. But anyway, if you go on their website, delivery, depending on what model you get, can be as late as like 2024.
Yeah, standard range is 2024, I think.
Yeah, so Daniel ordered one, and it's already been assigned a Rivian guide, which basically kind of like Curtis's text from Tesla with the VIN number.
Well, it's like the step before. It's like their version of the step before.
Yeah, so they're like, hey, your truck's coming
close,
soon.
but not that close.
As far as right this second, I haven't gotten any word that he's actually gotten the VIN number, but we should have a video whenever that happens, which theoretically should be in the next few weeks, of the Rivian truck, which would be awesome. I would love to take a look at it.
Zane's having so much fun with that. That's like his dream car right now.
Oh, it's great. I love it. But it was kind of funny. We were talking about it, and we even told him, because I think I mentioned this before on other episodes, saw a truckload of them in Point Pleasant on the way to Columbus. We were telling him about that, and timing is crazy. We get on the interstate to head home from Charleston, and by the time it happened again, I always talked about this whenever it happened the first time. By the time I noticed they were Rivians, because they're not extremely like designed different in a way that you would notice them immediately. They're very smooth, finished. Like they look sleek, but there's no like outstanding.
They can actually blend in.
Yeah, there's no outstanding feature where you're like, oh my gosh. So by the time I figure out what it is, because I just kind of glance on the other side of the road as I'm driving, when I figure out that the trucks on the back of this 18-wheeler are Rivian trucks, they're already at my driver's side windows. But then when Curtis takes a look, it's too late. So it happened again. So we were on the interstate, and I was like, oh, those are Rivians. And he was like, what? I missed it again. And I was like, oh, whoops. But I texted Daniel like immediately. I was like, you would not believe what just happened. Like, we were driving around all day. We just started driving home, and I saw a truckload of Rivians coming that way. And he ordered a blue one. The blue from their lineup it's very pretty, but it's very bold too. Like it makes a statement. That's going to be a noticeable color. It's blue, I like their yellow as well. It's very bold, but it's kind of almost muted. It's kind of a gold hint.
Yeah, it's not like a neon yellow or anything.
Yeah, it's a pretty yellow. The blue is very neon. He was like, "Was there a blue one on there? Could it be my truck?" And I was like, "I think it would have stood out to me if it was blue." I didn't see it. Like they had like the greenish and grayish colors that are, I think, cheaper.
Or included, right?
Or
some of their
included.
paints you don't have to pay extra for.
Yeah, the blue and a lot of the other colors, like the yellow, are like $2,500.
Yellow's $2,500, yeah.
The blue is $2,500. That's a lot of money for paint.
Yeah,
but the trucks, they're close to $100,000. So at that point, it's kind of negligible whether or not you spend $2,000 on paint. But
so I wonder if we'll see, start seeing some Rivians in this area. Maybe a few. We'll probably see more F-150 Lightnings because they're actually going to be able to make way more than the Rivians.
Now, will people be able to actually buy them? Because they're pricing them the same as Rivians right now. They're pricing base models at $100,000. Some dealerships.
If you pre-ordered one through Ford, you have the ability to switch your pre-order to any dealership, so you can find you a dealership that is not honest, but I guess just
not going to gouge you.
Yeah, not going to gouge you.
Triple the price of your truck.
And then you can get it at MSRP. So the F-150 Lightning, the Pro, which is still really nice for a Pro truck. Like, don't think of the current fleet of Pro trucks. Like, these actually have way more tech. Start at $40,000. So most people buy XLT cloth seats, but still a lot of the tech for $54,000.
Yeah,
which is what most people spend on pickup trucks in this area. Like, oh yeah, what I wanted to mention was a lot of people, especially with you mentioned Mercedes earlier, like, oh my gosh, they have a Mercedes. Well, the Tesla does that, maybe even worse. People are like, oh my gosh, he has a Tesla, he's so rich.
Right.
Well, just on my street, or just getting out onto the main, kind of almost the main road, there are so many XLT F-150s, like newer F-150s. Those are like $50,000 to $55,000.
Yep.
Like the same, actually $50,000 is what the car cost that I ordered. Like around the same price. And not the same car, but a lot of these people in these F-150s, what do they do with them? They commute to work and they commute back, and they're buying gas at $4.35 a gallon. So their actual operating costs for that F-150 is way higher than a Tesla.
Way higher.
And no one bats an eye that they have an F-150. It's like, oh, they're working class.
Big expensive tires, and if they lift them up, especially, all that money into that, and then they
buy the off-roading package, and they buy
oil and coolant reservoirs are all bigger. It's a bigger engine. Everything's just bigger, and
yeah. So I mean, I think that's good to take all that stuff into perspective when people see certain cars on the road. Say, okay, well, yes, that's a luxury brand, or yeah, that's a Tesla, but at the same time, is it actually crazy like a Model S Plaid, $130,000, or is it $50,000 Model 3 that's like nearly the cost of the average new vehicle?
And some Model 3s were bought at $35,000.
Yeah, some Model 3s were bought at what? Cheaper than like a top end Honda Accord.
Cheaper than my car. Yeah, my car's figured a little bit above that.
But a lot of them were bought at $38,000.
Yeah,
the $35,000 one only existed for like 5 months. I was reading through the Wikipedia history of the Model 3. But the $38,000 one and the $40,000 one, they lasted for a while.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the ones with the chrome handles, because they deleted the chrome, a lot of those were bought at $38,000 to $40,000.
That's crazy.
Which seems like a steal now. I mean,
I know, and I'm just like, if only. But speaking of Teslas, we'll start rolling into our article here. Articles, we have a few. This first one has nothing to do with Teslas, actually, but well, if you look at the article, never mind. You're on a different one. We'll start backwards.
Yeah, we'll just start in order.
Yeah, this has nothing to do with Tesla. Never mind.
It's to do with EVs.
We're gonna move around a little bit here. Yeah, so this has to do with Microsoft and Volkswagen. So an article from The Verge is talking about Microsoft and Volkswagen working together for a HoloLens, the HoloLens 2. It's going to be a new moving platform feature. So basically, it's like augmented reality for cars. So basically, when you're doing your navigation and you're driving on a trip or even just around the town or whatever, it's going to pop up and basically be a heads-up display. Wait, what does that say? Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, so you'll be able to put the headset on while you're driving the vehicle, and you'll be able to see where to turn through the glasses on the road, because it basically, the HoloLens looks out into the exterior world. It looks out into the world, unlike VR headsets. AR has the cameras for the outside world.
So you see the world, but you place things in the world.
Yeah, but you place things in
it's
it.
It's not a fully immersive experience.
Your specifically, I think, navigation, but I guess you could also see your speed, and I guess your music, whatever a regular heads-up display could show. Volkswagen kind of partnered with Microsoft for a new moving platform feature. So it allows virtual objects to be placed both inside and outside of the vehicle. So one of the images released by Microsoft shows the HoloLens 2 projecting a virtual map onto the dashboard of a car, with navigation arrows appearing ahead at key intersections. Second shows it alerting the driver to an upcoming pedestrian crossing. Well, that's kind of cool. I guess it could also alert you to stop signs. And
so basically, it's just going to be a driver assistant.
Yeah.
That shows you in real time, in real life. It's going to be popping up in front of you.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool. I mean, so we already saw some augmented reality in car navigation, like in the Mercedes, that does this just on a screen, just on your instrument cluster.
Yeah, see, this also states that VW also does this existing on some cars, so they already have augmented reality in some vehicles. For instance, the ID electric cars, like the ID4, which is the SUV, they feature augmented reality heads-up display, so that you don't need a headset for that. It just projects the data from the car, so it's just right there. And then you can see your speed, and it'll kind of create a pathway, basically, to show you how to get around, more so than glancing at your infotainment and watching your little bubble on Google Maps or Apple Maps or whatever Waze move around and follow a track. So you can see it in real time, and you won't miss your turn, especially if you're like me and you have wireless CarPlay and there's like an input lag and you're in the tight city environment, and then your turn could be this street, could be the next street, but by the time your maps catches up, you've already passed the one you need, and you got to make a UE. So this would definitely be helpful to show you exactly when you need to turn. Be helpful for all drivers, especially those that are a little less direction friendly. I don't know exactly how to put that. Well, not very good at following directions.
Yeah. Well, also it's just really nice whenever there's tons of traffic and tons of roads and signs, and
it can be overwhelming.
You get overwhelmed, because I'd get overwhelmed like driving in, I don't know, like New York City. New York City actually is not that bad because it's a grid, but some of these towns aren't grids.
Yeah, they're kind of goofy.
And they have a lot of interstate entrances and exits and roads, and
especially interstates. Yeah, like driving to Columbus, for instance, because it can take me two different ways depending on where I'm trying to go. One way is pretty straightforward. Another way, you have to go through the main inner city.
Yeah,
and there's so many ons and offs and twists and turns, and it gets hectic. And
I went to Columbus not 2 weeks ago, and I guess I took a route different than the one I've been taking the last few years. And I was going through downtown Columbus.
I do that.
Is that the route you go through?
Yeah.
And I was like, man, this is. I mean, it was kind of fun, honestly, in some ways, because the time went by quick. But
yeah,
it was a lot more.
More hectic?
A lot more hectic than the route that I've taken before.
Was there a lot of overpasses and things, kind of a little bit of construction going on too?
Well, yeah, I went under a bridge, not a bridge, but
there's just a lot of things going over top of you.
Yeah, a lot of things going over top of you.
And then there's random splits underneath bridges. There's just a divider. It was just all kinds of stuff. One goes one way, one goes another.
So the way I normally go, I'm going through cornfields with stoplights, and then I hop on the interstate and I'm there in 10 minutes, but I don't know. This route was way more complicated. We'll look at it later. This is
similar, yeah. So you do the same thing. You go through the fields and then you hop on, and then for some reason, because normally it goes, I forget if it's north, south, or east or west, the way it splits right there. But basically the on-ramp splits one way going right, one way going left. Normally I would go right, and it would basically be a pretty straight shot all the way up through.
Yeah.
For some reason now it takes me left, and then you have to like go and then get off and like go up through the middle of
Well, I know the
Columbus.
last like 2 or 3 miles, it was like pretty rural, but then it led right into Easton. It was like a back way into Easton almost.
Oh, interesting.
So I don't know.
Well, that's different than I've
we'll
ever
see what
taken.
route we take when we go pick up my Tesla in a week and a half.
Yeah, because normally
There's so many different ways to go there.
Yeah, I've been going the Polaris Parkway into the Polaris Fashion Place Mall. So
that's a whole different. The last 20 minutes of that route's totally different then.
Yeah, but I'm used to it going straight up from Easton. But going from that standpoint, going up through Columbus, yeah, it takes you a whole different way. Even though it's kind of linear with Easton, and you can just hop on one interstate, go straight up. It takes you out and about and up through all kinds of weird stuff. I don't know why, but it's more efficient, I guess. Siri thinks it's faster, so that's where we go.
Yeah, I remember a while ago when we were going to Maryland for the cruise, Siri was like, take a right. This was like in Milton. Siri was like, take a right to get back to the interstate. Everyone in the car was like, no, don't you dare. That is so much slower. And I'm like, I think Siri probably knows better than you guys, like in terms of actual time it takes.
Yeah.
Not what you're used to. Like. Yeah, not how it feels, but how it actually is, right? They're like, no, do not do that. And I was like, okay, I won't. But I was like, maybe you guys will always want the slow route. You know, sometimes people should time things and actually look into the facts and the details and not just how it feels. Yeah. Like it might feel faster, like having less stoplights, but it might actually be 10 minutes quicker to go the way with all the stoplights. Or
yeah, I mean they analyze all these things. That's why they exist.
Yeah, I mean they just have way more data than you would have if you were trying to figure out a route that's faster. I mean they just know.
Yep.
Because all the other people have taken the route.
So, and they take into account traffic and everything else. Maybe your normal way is backed up today and we're going this way for a reason. I've done that. I'm like, why is it taking me this way? And then I decline and then I get stuck in traffic. And I'm like, oh, that's why it's taking me this way. Like, for instance, we were going to go to Hardy County to go trout fishing. We were like a bunch of people went. Like Maddie's dad went and a bunch of other guys from our church went. We had like a big trip. And it was in Scott Depot, and I was going to get on, it was over 35 connects, and I was going to get on 64 and go towards Charleston. So we all met up at the Sheets there and got gas and were ready to head out. And it was like, no, go down Taze Valley Road. Go this way. And I was like, well, the interstate's right here. I was like, what do you mean? I was like, why would I go that way? That's stupid. And a couple cars left before us, and they called, and they were like, don't get on the interstate, guys. It's backed up forever. Like, do not. We're stuck on the on-ramp. And I was like, oh.
Or Apple Maps knows.
There's a way out of this mess. Like, it took us this way. And then I got on after the wreck, and it all was well.
Sometimes if you just cooperate with the technology, your life will be easier.
Sometimes
if you don't try to fight it every step of the way.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to let it go.
So, yeah.
But I knew better than me.
With Tesla navigation, whenever I get my Tesla, I'll just let them take my route every time so I can hit chargers if I need to. So
there you go.
Yep, not going to struggle with it. All right, so next up on our list here, this was actually a while. This was like from almost 2 weeks ago, May 6th. Lucid, the article here is titled, Lucid raises its EV prices as the company continues to struggle with production. An average of 10% increase per model.
Not something we haven't seen before. Rivian's done it. Tesla's done it many times.
I think every car manufacturer's raised their MSRP at least a little bit.
From Ford has done it.
Mach-E went up a couple grand, and that's on like a $40,000 car.
Yeah.
A $42,000 car. So a couple highlights here from this article. Kind of right off the bat.
This is still relevant. These prices won't hit until June 1st.
Yeah. This is still totally relevant. Just the article came out May 6th. The company reported delivering only 360 vehicles to customers in the first quarter of 2022.
So only 360 really people got vehicles. Woo!
So they've only delivered, I think, a couple hundred the previous quarter too. So they're still way under 1,000 total deliveries. So as of June 1st, Lucid's newly increased prices will be $154,000 for the Air Grand Touring, previously $139,000. $107,400 for Air Touring, up from $95,000, and $87,400 for Air Pure, up from $80,000.
$7,500 almost increase.
Yep, and that represents an average increase of around 11%. And And they also announced a new Lucid Air Grand Touring Performance model about a month ago at this point. And that will still remain at a price of $179,000.
Jeez.
But there is one little plus side still in this article. One little ray of hope, I guess. All of Lucid's vehicles are eligible for the $7,500 federal EV tax credit. So, because they've not sold any cars, hardly.
There you go. So now you can get it at MSRP if you get an Air Pure. Actually, you're saving $100. There you go. It was $80,000. It's up $7,400.
The Air Pure is probably still a really good deal. It's $80,000. Wait a minute. No, it's $87,400.
Still cheaper than a Tesla Model S.
Yeah, it's still $13,000 cheaper than the Model S, and you still get a tax credit. And if you can generally afford an Air Pure, you're going to get that whole $7,500 tax credit. Because I don't know if our viewers know this, but that is not a fully refundable tax credit. So you have to owe $7,500 in taxes. Or maybe not owe, but have a tax bill of $7,500. Like that's what you've paid into / owe for that year. And to do that, if you're single, I think you need to make like $60,000 a year. And if you're married, you need to make around $90,000 combined.
Nice.
So most people that buy Lucids will get the $7,500. So $80,000 is not.
What's the current MSRP of a Tesla Model S?
I believe it's $99,500.
Oh, so the Air Touring used to be cheaper, and now it's not.
Yeah. What is it now? $108? It's the same price.
$107.
Though, right? After the tax credit. Let's see.
I guess after the tax credit it is, yeah. If you take that into consideration.
Oops, page not found. Well, that's kind of interesting. Let me try this again.
Tesla's website's crashing.
All these orders.
90,000. Or no.
99,990.
Was that
wait a minute.
Did you have it set on potential savings?
Yes, I did. Which
99,990. So the Lucid is not cheaper anymore. Used to be.
No, the Pure Edition is still cheaper.
Yeah, I guess if that's a base model.
The base model still gets like 400 miles of range.
But there's like no trim levels for Model S. There's just Model S and then Model S Plaid. Like, that's about it. The trim levels on the Lucid, there's several of them.
Yeah, but I think you still get a lot with the Lucid. And I guess we're not super versed in what you get because it's kind of not on our radars to buy ever.
It's a lucrative vehicle anyway. Good luck getting one.
Let me see here. Let's see. Well, you can still reserve at this price, guys. So if any of our viewers, if you're thinking about buying a Lucid Air,
do it now.
Which was definitely targeted at any Model S buyer or potential buyer. You can do it now and still get an Air Touring for $95,000 or an Air Pure for $77,400, and the Air Pure reservation is like $300 down.
Oh wow,
it's actually not bad at all. I mean, it's a lot of money, but like for what you get versus the competition,
yeah,
you know, it's not.
And that's before June 1st, by the way. If you want one of these, if anybody has the money right now and they're just not sure what to do with it.
So a couple cool things about the Pure Edition: 406 miles of range, max horsepower 480.
That's a powerful car.
We're near. I guess it's not as fast as the base Model S, but still a lot of power. I'm trying to see what you get here with the Air Pure, just so our viewers know.
The Air Pure.
Oh my!
You're on the Grand Touring. What are you doing?
Air Dream, Air Pure.
There we go.
Single motor rear wheel drive, by the way, though. So you don't get all wheel drive standard like the Model S.
That's unfortunate.
Well, cool. Whenever I go to design one, it says no, thank you.
Like, go back.
Or I hit the wrong button again.
Design yours. Yeah, you hit reserve now.
Okay, sorry.
There you go.
All right. Let's see. Couple colors. Ooh, they have a really pretty red. You can get zenith red.
It's like a deep red.
Okay, metal roof is standard. Remember that Porsche Taycan had a metal roof too.
That's correct. What isn't included here? Like everything that they have listed is included almost.
Let's see. Dream Drive is standard. Dream Drive gives you traffic drive off alert, blind spot warning, lane departure, automatic emergency braking, front and rear cross traffic protection, automatic park in and out, park distance warning, drowsy driver alert, distracted driving alert. Oh,
well. Wait, go back to that. It said what the Pro added.
see.
The Pro is if you upgrade, you get future-ready hardware for semi-autonomous driving and surround view monitoring.
I don't know why the surround view is locked to a more expensive car. Okay, then you also get surreal sound standard. It's really fancy. They're kind of vague on all these details. Sorry, guys, if it's like we don't know what we're talking about, but the website doesn't really have a lot of information.
They don't even say how much it is to upgrade this. It just says optional.
They're probably going to change the price 10 times before we get there.
Yeah.
Like, we don't even know if you get, like, ventilated seats or not.
Nope.
None of this is in here. That's kind of weird.
Wait, go to view summary. Does that give you, like, a list?
You do get 3 years of free charging with Electrify America. That's pretty good if you're going to road trip.
No, it doesn't really tell you.
No, but after the federal tax credit, wait a minute, available Q4. Q4 of this year. Okay, so you can get it for $70,000 after the available tax credit. You know, Daniel should just buy one of these and a
and a Rivian.
And a Rivian.
Well, he was telling us. I guess he has done research. One of his friends has one of these. He said the tech, like the infotainment, is not as good as Rivian, which Rivian is almost as good as Tesla. So it's like 2 steps down, basically. It's good, but not that good. So like when we watched a while back Lucid's videos explaining the car, we were like, whoa, this is the Apple of car brands. Even more than Tesla, but apparently in practice, it's not as good as it seems. Everything is just kind of lacking in a way. But for a full-size electric sedan, it's a pretty good deal, I guess. For a luxury sedan, I guess.
$70,000 seems like a lot of money, but like for luxury sedans, EVs, this is like the best value right now, right? For sedans. I mean, you can get a Model. Can't you? This is what a Model Y Performance cost, right?
Yeah, after something like that.
Yeah, so I mean, it seems like a pretty good value. And once they raise the price, I don't know so much then, but
yeah, right now it's not too bad.
Yeah, I've cannot find any details about any real features other than the safety features and the really vague audio system.
Oh well,
description.
All right, loss.
But anyways, raising the prices soon. If any of our viewers, I don't know, are in the market for a luxury EV sedan, now's the time to reserve it. Lock in that price, $300. So, all right, next thing we got here. This is probably the most interesting article out of the whole bunch, I think. So the title of the article is Tesla's using Autopilot are 8 times less likely to be in an accident.
It's pretty good.
And they kind of go down through some information here. Let's see. So Tesla released a impact report. I'm trying to see here what all they covered. Okay, so here's a little
I know what you're trying to say too. Excerpt?
Yeah.
Or something.
From their report. So in 2021, Tesla recorded 0.22 crashes for every million miles driven in which drivers were using Autopilot technology. And Autopilot is auto steer and active safety features. And for drivers who are not using Autopilot technology, we recorded 0.77 crashes for every million miles driven. By comparison, the TSA's National Highway Traffic Safety Administration most recent data shows that in the United States there are 1.81 automobile crashes for every million miles driven. So even the Teslas without Autopilot, because they still have the safety feature standard, less than half is likely to be in a crash.
Pretty cool.
And then with Autopilot, there are 0.22. So they're, what's the article titled? 8 times less likely.
There you go.
So yeah, that's pretty cool. Kind of shows you hear a lot of negative things in the media, I think, with Autopilot or full self-driving. A lot of that's because people really abuse the system. You're supposed to keep your eyes on the road and keep your hands on the wheel. And then they...
Yeah, like that news article we saw recently.
Convention center somehow.
Yeah, you're going 70 miles an hour through a convention center window.
And the brakes always work in a Tesla. You can use your brakes even if your screen goes out.
Yeah, he said he lost control of the brakes. Just could not do it. I don't believe it. But
70 miles an hour, come right through a convention center. He didn't make it very far through the convention center, though. I think he hit like a support beam.
Ugh, that doesn't sound fun at all.
So yeah, but he survived because the driver talked about
there you go.
The experience.
Safety. You go 70 miles an hour through a building and you still walk away and live to tell the tale. Yeah, it just shows safety features matter. Obviously, the data shows right here facts, as said by Ben Shapiro. Facts don't care about your feelings, and that goes for everything aside from politics. Right now, we're telling you safety features, even if you have them turned off. Like the autopilot features turned off. The basic safety features included on a Tesla and a lot of other vehicles that have them included.
You're less likely to crash.
They save lives. You don't crash.
Well, you're not going to be the one at fault for sure. I mean, that'll definitely help you being at fault.
Yeah, it's also true.
I mean, if someone swerves into you, there's not a whole lot you can do, even with safety systems.
Right.
For now. But, yeah. And speaking of facts, we got some more facts here about the New York Times wrote an article titled "Hurdle to Broad Adoption of EVs, the Misperception They're Unsafe." So then their subtitle here: fully electric vehicles have fewer fires than gasoline-powered and hybrid cars, and their crash protection is at least equivalent.
Yeah, so this is the crazy thing about this article that caught my eye, that hybrids have significantly more fires per 100,000 than combustion and
electric vehicles, yeah.
Like, way more than them combined. Like, it's double.
Well, go ahead and read off the...
this is in 2021 data. From Auto Insurance EZ. So they've studied the frequency of fires in these three different types of cars. So that being hybrid, which for those that don't know specifically, hybrids have electric and gasoline components. Some more than others, like plug-in hybrids have a full battery that can run independently. Hybrids kind of use, a hybrid and just get better fuel economy. But you still have to fill up the gas tank, but you'd have to do it less. Then in regular internal combustion engine vehicles, like everyone is used to, you fill it up with gas, it drives. And then fully electric, which is what we're all about. That's why we're here. Plug it in the wall, it drives. So basically, they've done the research here. They've gotten some data on collisions and how many fires occurred. So with hybrid cars, per 100,000 vehicles, there were 3,475 fires.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's a lot. Like, that's 3.4%. If you round up, 3.5% of hybrids that crash, and as their data shows, catch on fire. And then you think, well, vehicles that just take gasoline are going to do it more? No, not really. It's 1,530. So less than half. Or, what, did I say that correctly? Yeah, less than half.
Yeah, less than half is likely
of the hybrids. Yeah, it caught on fire. So just regular, typical gasoline, 1,530 per 100,000. So about 1.5% versus 3.5%, 2% less per 100,000 for that class. Pretty crazy. And then, what do you think electric cars are? We always hear Teslas go boom boom. Tesla fire. Tesla caught on fire.
Also, you think of the Chevy Bolts. There's like 12 incidents of them catching on fire, and they sold like over 100,000 of those worldwide.
Yeah, they had a recall because the battery is spontaneously combust. Like, you just hear fire, fire, fire on electric cars. So the big figure that everyone's waiting for, fully electric vehicles, 25
per 100,000.
25. So gas cars, 1,530. Hybrid cars, 3,400, 3,475, almost 3,500. And then, fully electric, 25. It's crazy to think that something with a big battery, because you always think when the battery gets punctured, it's just going to explode. But apparently not. That just doesn't happen. Now, the fact is, when they do catch on fire,
Harder to put out.
Harder to put them out. but the likelihood of it catching on fire is a lot less. So there's a lot of measures that these companies use to cool the batteries, protect the batteries, and just make the whole car more safe. Because I know Tesla, for instance, or a lot of the cars that are electric, there's really nothing up front, so it leaves room for reinforcement. So front collisions are safer. Like they're safer vehicles mostly. So that proves with this data, if you're worried about spontaneous combustion or burning alive in a collision, electric car is your best way to go. Hybrid is the worst somehow. I don't know why they're so much more prone to fire, but they are. So, any more thoughts on that, Curtis?
No, I was just reading through some of the comments here on those New York Times articles. Nothing really that exciting, I think, here. The very first comment's kind of really negative about electric vehicles, but all the other ones are, I don't know, just random comments. No, I don't think so. I think it's kind of interesting. I mean, so just we don't want to be too biased here. I mean, there also isn't a ton of data yet on. There's only been so many electric vehicles, and the majority of those are also Teslas. So in the U.S., so we'll see how that changes over. I don't know, the next couple of years. But yeah.
Yeah, that was one of my thoughts. Like, how much data is there really on electric cars?
Hybrids have been out for a while.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. And then also, I mean, they can make batteries that are more stable. I know the Model 3 that I ordered has a lithium phosphate battery. So it can be charged to 100. It's supposed to be charged to 100% instead of like at 80 on your daily. For the daily charging, they want you to charge it to 100 instead of to 80. Mm-hmm. And apparently it's just less prone to, I don't know, like catch on fire or just go extreme, basically. It's more stable. It's a more stable battery pack. Yeah. It's also a little bit slower than the old standard range, but it's a more stable battery and it's supposed to be more reliable. So battery technology is also changing. And you should also think that the batteries they're putting in the electric vehicles could be also more advanced than the batteries they're putting in some of these hybrids.
For sure.
So yeah, kind of a really interesting article there. And we'll post all. We always post these articles in our comment section on YouTube, and then we're also going to post the auto insurance easy article.
Yes, to get the exact data.
So you guys can go through some of that data if you'd like.
Yeah, for our very active listeners, those that are just playing us as background noise may not care, but those that actually want to not be lost and see what we're seeing and skimming through, you can look up the article.
I think we've got a pretty data-heavy episode, actually, with our news articles. 8 times less likely with Autopilot, how likely
the numbers per 100,000. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And then last thing here we want to talk about a little bit is Cadillac released basically some new image, pricing, and range for their all-electric Lyriq SUV that's coming out here in the next few months.
So excited for this car, actually. It's gorgeous. I think Cadillac did a very good job designing this.
So the starting price is originally, it's higher than what they originally announced. They originally announced it to be like, I think $59,990. It's going to be $62,990. But GM was able to get the range up to 312 miles of EPA-rated range on a single charge. And this is built on their new Ultium platform. That's also used in the Hummer EV. So it gives you a lot more energy density and it lets you charge the cars a lot faster. The Bolts do not have Ultium platform. They're running on some older batteries.
Nice. That price tag of $62,990 is for the rear-wheel drive model, by the way. The all-wheel drive starts at $64,990. So it adds a second drive unit, which is in the front. Rear-wheel drive. They only have one in the back. You get all-wheel drive. You get 2, one in the back, one in the front. 2 power both sides.
That's not a bad price difference. I mean,
$2,000.
I think Hyundai charges 30-some thousand, not 30-some thousand, like $3,000 some dollars to get all-wheel drive on an Ioniq 5. So I mean, that's not bad. Then also it'll have an onboard charger of up to capable of 19.2 kilowatts. Which is mighty impressive.
Yeah.
So right now, that's like 80 amps. So this is going to accept 80 amps of power. because the Bolt I have only does 32 amps of power, and the Model 3 I ordered, where its standard range only does 32 amps of power.
So that's pretty.
So this can do 80 amps of power standard, and it can DC fast charge up to 190 kilowatts. So currently the Bolt can do 50, so this can do 190.
Crazy.
So yeah, this will be a real competitor to the Model Y, especially being basically almost the same price.
Yeah. They start at the same price, basically, yeah, like you just said.
And then you also get 2 years of unlimited public charging credits at EVgo charging stations. So good luck finding your
charging stations.
Good luck finding your EVgo stations that are really fast, though.
Yeah.
But
yeah, take a look at the article from Electric that we've listed, as well as I know I was looking at Motor Trend earlier. Motor Trend had a lot of pretty pictures, and then obviously General Motors website will have a lot of photography of the car and all the special images, but very pretty inside. We were looking at Cadillac SUVs a while back, like last generation. They were not very pretty.
Yeah, minus the Escalade, which is like the newest interior out of the whole bunch of all the Cadillacs. Everything's looking pretty dated. I mean, you get like 8-inch touchscreen on everything, no matter what you spend.
They're pretty shabby. With this, they've done a really good job. Everything looks really streamlined. It's all horizontal lines, really sleek. Just a few buttons here, a few buttons there. There's not an overpowering amount of buttons and knobs and chunkiness.
Yeah, and it's
very sleek,
relatively affordable. I mean, it's not $100,000,
and it's a Cadillac.
It's a luxury. It's a luxury electric SUV. That's the price of a Model Y, which Tesla's not really luxury.
No,
they're luxury for their tech.
They're tech heavy, but they're not. The feel is not the same.
Yeah, so this will have all your luxury features: heated seats, ventilated seats, heated steering wheel, full glass roof. I'm sure both the front seats will be powered, premium audio.
They have speakers in the headrests, even in the back seat. We noticed.
So,
a lot of trunk space. It looked like. Did it have a frunk?
They actually, I have no idea. I've not heard anything about a frunk. So if there probably isn't a frunk.
Or if there is, couldn't figure it out.
Not usable. Well, it cost money to design a frunk.
Yeah.
I mean, this is $63,000. I mean, there are people that bought some Ioniq 5s marked up or Kia EV6s for $63,000.
Yeah, that's true.
So I mean, that's okay. I'll not take a frunk if you can cut the price down, because General Motors seems to be going not with the Hummer, but with everything else. They seem to be try to undercut the competition in price. The Bolt right now is $32,000 to get 260 miles of range.
Yeah,
that undercuts everyone basically. This is going to undercut all the other luxury EV SUVs. The new Equinox coming out next year, we looked at earlier, is going to start around $30,000. What? There's no competition for any of these. Like they're cheaper than everyone else. So I think they're going to try to beat everyone in price.
If my insurance career really takes off, I might try to put Maddie in one of these.
Man, really it better really take off. If it doesn't, Maddie's getting an Equinox.
The Equinox is actually really nice.
Yeah, for half the price is this starting out. I don't know. We don't know what a $30,000 Equinox is going to look like on the inside in terms of seat material and all that. But whatever one they showed us looked really nice.
It looks pretty nice. Now, it's obviously not the same fit and finish, like a lot of hard surfaces and things, but it's half the price. And the outside, the curb appeal was very nice, and that's what a lot of people care about. So
that's what most people care about.
The curb appeal was very nice. The inside had nice displays and nice flow of everything. The lines, the symmetry looked really nice. Still minimal in the buttons, but it seemed like it had harder surfaces, like on the dash and on the doors. But both of these vehicles come with optional Super Cruise, which is hands-free driving.
And they should both come with the automatic lane changes.
Yep. So it'll drive you on the interstate most places. It's got an ever-growing map of interstates, unless you're in the Charleston, Huntington area, and it's always under construction for some reason.
Yeah.
But
can't commute to work in this area with it, but you can take it on road trips.
Or even through 79, there's always road work. It's ridiculous. There's road work on all of our interstates in West Virginia, but whatever. If you take it out of state on roads that are I don't know, just not worked on as much.
I mean, if you take it on a 500-mile road trip, you're gonna be able to use Super Cruise for
the majority of the time,
300 of the miles or something.
Yeah, so it should be fine.
Yeah, it'd be really cool. We've never experienced Super Cruise. That'd be cool to just experience.
Yeah,
we need to try to find a Bolt EUV at a dealership we can test drive. That'd be so cool. Yeah, that'd be so cool. But it's so hard dealing with dealerships.
I would much rather rent one from somebody or find someone that has one and borrow it.
Yeah.
That was the cool thing about the Porsche. It was so laid back. Like if we were at a dealership, it would have been like eagle eyes. Don't touch that.
Or if they did let us touch it, say you got 20 minutes.
Yeah, ridiculous. So, yeah, it was fun. I like having personal people have vehicles that like to share them because there's a lot of love there. Like they're passionate about the car. Especially right now with EVs, people do the research and find the one for them. You don't just stumble upon one at the lot, more than likely.
We did have that one guy come up. This is one of the last things we'll talk about here because I know we're going kind of long. His son wanted to see the car, and we kind of mentioned to the guy that it was all electric.
They didn't say a word
about it. He didn't really
say
anything, so I don't know if he was like had maybe some negative thoughts and just didn't share them. I don't know, maybe. I don't know, it just felt strange. I feel like most people, if they're at all interested in electric cars, they'll say, oh, yeah, and they'll ask you like 2 or 3 questions, but he literally didn't say a word. He just kind of kept looking at the car a little bit and then
moseyed on out
and walked away. I was like, all right.
Yeah, I like to mention that to people whenever we have a fully electric car in our hands. I'm like, hey, it's fully electric. And a lot of times you'll see people like snarl a little bit. They're like,
yeah, they'll be like, oh, man, that's so nice. I really like that. And then you're like, oh, it's fully electric. And they just... the gears start going and they start, oh,
like, actually,
man,
it's ugly. I hate it. Go away. It's going to explode and catch on fire.
So, kind of interesting. I kind of forgot to mention that the other day, actually.
But, yeah. So, I think that's about all we got for today. Got a few articles. Like we said, we always attach them in the description. Follow along if you'd like. And then we'll see you next week.
For next week's episode.
And then here in a week or 2, depending on how much time we have to edit, we should have video content on YouTube with the Porsche hands-on, looking over some features and some launch control and us freaking out when we're going super fast videos.
So just like always, make sure to, if you like and subscribe on the YouTube channel. And if you're listening on the podcast app, please give us a review. That helps us out.
Yep.
Takes us closer to the top when people search for, I don't know, like just car podcasts or just a real general search. The more reviews you have, the closer you are to the top. So we'll see you guys next week.
See you later.